Hello metalheads, Lee here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how to break down tasks. I'll never shy away from an opportunity to make a really poor analogy, so I'm going to try and compare breaking down tasks to breakdowns that you'll find in metalcore songs. So you know that feeling that you get just before the breakdown of your favorite metalcore song? I don't know about you, but I feel anticipation and excitement for that moment in the song just before it's about to come. And when it drops, I get a huge smile on my face and I just mindlessly throw myself about in the pit if it's live, or, you know, just headbang to myself if I'm listening alone. I don't feel worried or anxious before a breakdown because it's a part of a song. You know that it's coming, you know how it goes. It's really simple and really effective. This is how I feel about breaking down tasks. You can tackle any task, no matter how massive and unattainable it might seem in the beginning, using this technique of breaking down that task into tiny, manageable chunks. Just like the breakdown of a metal song is broken down into tiny, manageable chugs. Before I get into how to break down tasks, I just want to tell you about my last 2 weeks and how I've had to actually use this very technique right now in order to be in front of this camera, because I really didn't want to record the video. I was feeling very down in the dumps. So the last couple of weeks I've dealt with a pretty severe shoulder injury just caused by bad posture when I'm driving. At my computer, my monitor's over to the left, so when I'm not recording, I've now squared that up. I had a trapped nerve that sent pain down my arm, and I had no strength in my hand, and I couldn't move my neck. I was in absolute agony. I was off work for a few days, and of course I had the gig with my band Hellbeing in Manchester that I played last Saturday. So I was very stiff. I was unable to headbang as much on stage, but in the end it turned out very well. Really enjoyed that show, and I loosened up a bit on stage and I was able to windmill a little bit, so it turned out to be okay in the end. At the end of January, I received a gigantic, crippling tax bill, and now this week, just yesterday, I discovered that my central heating system has completely gone kaput. So this has been a lot to deal with in the last couple of weeks, and to be honest, I've been feeling a bit defeated by all these things life is throwing at me the last couple of weeks. And when it came to my day off today to record this video, I felt like I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to lie on the sofa and play video games all day. But I ended up using the techniques that I'm going to talk about in this video to get myself in the camera. In the camera? I'm not in the camera. I'm in front of the camera. I ended up having to use the very techniques I'm going to talk about in this video to get myself in front of the camera. And the fact that the heating is broken at the moment has given me a nice opportunity to wear my nice new Hellbeing hoodie. I picked mine up at the Manchester gig and I was surprised at how actually nice and comfortable they are. They're really soft to touch and they have a really cool black zip, which is a nice little feature. I'll put the artwork up on the screen. These are available at our next gig, which is on Thursday 13th of February in Bristol, supporting the mighty Seor, and also with our friends Offness. So this is going to be a really amazing show. After the show, we'll then put the hoodies up on our Bandcamp for people to order. So back to the main topic of the video, breaking down tasks. So just like your favorite breakdown in your favorite metalcore or deathcore song, these are huge sounding riffs that are built up of very small and simple chugs. And I think that you can achieve something bigger by just focusing on the smaller little components that all build up to create that bigger picture. Another way of saying it is you can set yourself mini achievable goals, and then when you achieve all of these mini achievable goals, you look back and now you've achieved the bigger goal. So to help a metalhead remember this, you can compare it to a breakdown and just think of those small simple chugs on the guitar all amount together to create a big effective awesome section of a song called a breakdown. So I started using this technique kind of by accident many years ago when I started running, and I would have a day off. I maybe told myself I would be going for a run that day, but the day came and I started to feel lazy. I was lying around watching YouTube in my underwear or something, and I was telling myself, oh, maybe I'll go in an hour, or maybe I won't go today at all. But it would start playing on my mind, and I'd start getting like negative self-talk in my head, like, oh, you're being really lazy, you aren't doing what you promised yourself that you would do. But then on the other side of things, just the task of going for a run just felt like this huge task that I didn't feel like I knew how to do it, or I didn't feel like I could do it. I'm not even sure how I stumbled across this technique, but I found myself doing it nonetheless. And I guess a voice popped into my head and said, well, maybe you don't think that you can go for a 5-kilometer run right now. I mean, look at you, you're just lying on the sofa in your underwear. But what can you do right now to work towards that goal? And, you know, I'm having a dialogue with myself in my head, and I said, oh, well, I guess I could get dressed. I could put on my outfit that I wear to go running. That's easy. I can do that. That's a easy, manageable mini goal. The goal is to get my clothes on. Now, I don't know about you, but I've been doing this on my own since I was, well, I don't know, a toddler or something. So I could easily do that. No problem. So I've managed to get up. It only takes a few minutes, maybe less than that, to get my clothes on. Then I told myself, once you get dressed into your running clothes, you can lie back down on the sofa and continue your lazy day. You don't even have to go for a run. So I did. I got dressed. Now there's power in just getting dressed for the task at hand. If you dress professionally, you're gonna feel more professional. If you dress in your gym gear, you're going to feel like you kind of want to go and lift some weights. It's a psychological thing. So now I'm lying around on my sofa in my running outfit. So there's just this kind of dissonance there. It didn't feel quite right to be lazy in my active wear. So anyway, I lay around for a bit, continue to be lazy, watch some more YouTube. And again, thoughts started coming to my head, and I'm like, well, I'm dressed, ready for my run. I might as well do the next step. What is the next step? Well, back at this time in my life, I used to run somewhere which was a short drive away. So the next step would be to leave the house. I could leave the house and walk to my car. That is a tiny, achievable goal. So I got up. I walked out the door and I just sat in my car. That was a mini goal. I've achieved it. I felt like I'd achieved something because I just did what I said I was going to do. I said I was going to walk to my car, and I did. And then I sat there and I'm like, well, I'm in my car now. I might as well go for a drive. And I'll just drive to the place where I go for my run, which was the beautiful canal in Tiverton. So it's worth going there anyway. Tiverton's the small town in Devon I used to live in. It's beautiful. So I thought I would just drive there and maybe take a short walk because it's a gorgeous day. I'll just listen to some music. There's a new album I want to listen to anyway. This is a good opportunity. So I drove down to the canal. I parked the car. I go for a short walk. And I start the album that I want to listen to. And now look, I found myself on the canal, in my running gear, listening to an album. So what's the next step? The next step is to open my Strava app and click go. And so I did that. That was a tiny, achievable goal. I did that. Now the time is running. So, I might as well start running. I don't want to waste it. So I started running, and I tricked myself step by step into going for that run that I felt was a completely impossible task back when I was lying in my boxes on the sofa, being completely lazy. And once I start running, I continue to break down the task of completing that run. So when I'm running along, I'm just constantly telling myself, all you need to do is run to that next tree, that next bridge, that next lamppost, or somebody might start walking to, like, they might appear from around a corner and they'll be walking towards me, and I'll say, well, now I need to keep running until they've passed. And I just found myself setting mini goals all the time in my head. Oh, just run until the end of this song that you're currently listening to. Then you can take a walking break. Or I might look at my Strava and see that I am currently at 1.8 kilometers. Oh, well, I might as well round that up to 2 kilometers. Then I can take a walking break. But when I reach the 2 kilometers, maybe I'm only 30 seconds away from the end of the next song. So then I can constantly change my mini goals to keep pushing myself just a tiny bit further. And before I knew it, I'd completed my 5-kilometer run, and I'm feeling brilliant and fantastic and proud of myself for completing it, especially because I'd come from that pit of despair on the sofa where I felt like everything was impossible. So for different people, tasks are going to feel more overwhelming or less overwhelming. So it's kind of up to you to find how much you have to chop up your tasks into mini achievable goals. So it could possibly go too far in one direction, and then your to-do list ends up being pages long because you've literally broken it down into stand up, tick, walk to bathroom, tick. I mean, maybe that's what you do need to do. Maybe you're somebody that even struggles to get out of bed. So, for example, if you're in bed and you can't get out of bed, I know what that feels like. I've been there before. I've been depressed in the past. I've suffered from this. And I can imagine now, if I did suffer from this one morning, I'd end up breaking it down. Maybe you're in bed and you're doom scrolling. So tell yourself, okay, I'm going to doom scroll for 30 more seconds. And when I do reach that point, I'm going to put my phone down and I'm going to take 30 seconds to just lie here in bed and stare at the ceiling. This is 2 goals. So first goal was to put the phone down after 30 seconds or 1 minute. Now the second goal is to lie there for 30 seconds. Next goal, take the duvet cover off of yourself. Next goal, sit up and just sit on the end of the bed for 30 seconds. When you get to this point, you can reward yourself by picking up your phone again. Do you see what I mean? You can break down any task, no matter how small or big or how massive it feels to you. You can break it down into tiny things that you definitely can do. And you can be proud of each little goal, each little step along the way that you achieve. Even if you don't reach the final goal that day, celebrate the fact that you made progress towards it and you did more than you did the day before. You're only competing against your previous self. I think I'll make a video in the future about comparing yourself to others and comparing yourself to your previous self. I think that's a whole topic on its own that I could go into more depth with. And if you don't know me or know my past, here's a picture of what I looked like before I started running in, I think, May 2019, followed by a picture of me, I think, in 2020 or 2021, after I'd lost 7.5 stone, or I think that equates to about 40 kilos, 45 kilos, something like that. So I'm telling you that it worked. I use these techniques all the time throughout all my running. I still use it when I'm running, and it just helped me to maintain the consistency of going for runs. And I didn't think about the big goal. In fact, my big goal wasn't even to lose that much weight. My big goal originally was to lose 2 stone. And because I wasn't focusing on losing 2 stone, I wasn't focusing on losing anything more than that. I was just focusing on getting up off the sofa and getting out of the house. It kind of then almost just happens in the background. The goal happens in the background. Right now, as I talk to you on the camera, I'm not thinking about the goals of my channel that I aspire towards, like getting 1,000 subscribers, or maybe getting merch made, or manning a stall at a festival. I mean, these are big goals and aspirations I do have for this channel. But if I sit around and think about those big goals too much, I just feel like that's impossible. I don't think I'm going to achieve it. But what I can achieve is I can right now talk and finish this sentence. And now I'm on to the next point, and I'm just going to make the next point. And something about focusing on these mini goals, it helps to keep you in the now, in the present. And that's a great feeling. If you have anxiety, you're always worrying about the future. If you have depression, it's often that you are maybe ruminating on the past. So by using this technique of breaking down tasks and focusing on mini goals, I find it helps bring you to the present, and it almost helps you to just be grateful of everything that you have right now in this moment. So I'm very grateful that I have the ability to record this video. I've got some time, I can do it. I'm despite, my heating failing at the moment, I'm grateful that I have a hoodie to wear to keep warm. And I just feel very in the moment right now recording this video with you. So you can do this with anything. You can do it with cooking. Oh, I can't be bothered to cook today. Well, you don't have to cook. Lie to yourself. You don't have to cook. All you have to do is get the frying pan out of the cupboard and put it on the stove. That's it. You don't have to cook. You don't have to make a massive meal. You just have to put the frying pan on the stove. Right? And then the next thing you can do, you don't have to cook still. You don't have to. All you have to do is put some oil in the pan. That's it. You don't have to cook. All you have to do is chop up the piece of meat or chop up the vegetable that you're going to cook. Then you can put it in a container and put it back in the fridge and end it there if you want to. But believe me, once you start doing these mini tasks, you'll not want to kind of go back. I never once ran half of my intended run distance and turned around and came back. I was just in the moment doing it. If you chop those vegetables and pretend that that's all you're going to do, you'll want to do the next mini task. You'll kind of want to complete it after all. I'm not going to stop recording this video halfway through. It's actually more awkward to have to set everything up again and record a second half when now I'm in the flow. I'm in the flow of things now. This is known as the flow state, and it's one of the most enjoyable states of mind to be in. I personally get it when I'm running, when I'm recording a video, or when I'm writing music for Hellbeing. It feels like everything in the entire world just dissolves and goes away, and it's just you and the task at hand, and that's it. It's just quite peaceful, almost meditative. I highly recommend this technique of breaking down tasks for anyone who's looking to achieve goals. They often think that they can't do things. Well, just break it down into tiny, manageable chugs, like your metalcore breakdowns, and I absolutely almost guarantee that this will work for you and you'll achieve much more than you ever thought was capable. So let me know down in the comments, were you aware of this technique before watching this video? Have you ever used this technique of breaking down tasks? Maybe you work in an office and you've come across SMART goals. This is fairly similar to that. Similar in the way that the A in SMART stands for achievable. Let me know down in the comments what you thought of this video. Was it helpful? maybe there's something I could do better in these videos. I'd love to hear some feedback. And remember, your music may be miserable, but you don't have to be. See you next time.